everyone, Vito here. Today I'm with George, who's a freelancer working from Cyprus. And we're discussing how George went from delivering a website in a little more than a month on average to reduced it to less than 10 days using WP feedback. And I want to hear a little bit about you, George, about your journey and how did this happen? How did we manage to get down to reduce about 70% of your project completion time through just one tool that you're using? I'm going to kick off with this one. Can you please just introduce yourself and your business to the people that are listening?
So my name is George Nicolaou, and I am basically a freelancer. I came back into freelancing after leaving a government job that I had due to unforeseen circumstances, and I needed to be able to work from home. So I came to a point where I came back into web development. I am an actual software developer by trade, so web development sort of became a side gig for me. I enjoyed doing it simply, and now it's my full-time thing.
Awesome.
I haven't developed software in a few years actually, but I can still do it if need be. But web development has just become my thing now.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm focusing on that.
So who do you help usually, and how long have you been doing it?
Well, I've been doing it now for 5 years, approximately. I mean, back in freelancing, I used to do it when I was an undergrad for fun, while I was studying and stuff like that, web development, I mean. But mostly now, who I help is, it was initially local clients, like the clients here wanted a web developer that they could actually get in touch with physically, like come and see me if they needed something, which is difficult at times because they expect you to be there any time of the day,
yeah.
Which I'll get into in a bit and why this will actually help me stop that from happening, the tool that I use in a sense. So that was the first thing. And then I was lucky enough to be asked to work on a project in the UK because somebody I knew working at that specific, let's say, I don't know what to call it. I guess it's a incubator for like startups.
Right.
I don't know if I'm defining that correctly, but they requested someone to help them with WordPress support stuff, and because the person knew me and he knew my turnaround time was quick enough and that's what they wanted, they didn't want to wait 6 days, 7 days for the IT company to fix a problem on the website or whatever. I got in touch with them, and I've been doing that since for like maybe a year, 2 years now. And from that, I actually got other clients because they would give my info to other people they knew that needed the same kind of help. So I've got some clients in the UK, and then I know a few languages, which is Greek and Afrikaans, other than English. So I went into becoming a contractor for WPML, the plugin, because
Nice.
they opened up a contracting sort of gig for people that wanted to help people translate websites.
Yes.
And it went into me meeting other people. So I have clients in the US, in the UK, in Greece, in Cyprus. That's about my client base. Not
That's
too
awesome.
much stuff, but I mean, it's better than just my local clients.
Yes. And so what was I want to take you a little bit to the beginning. What were you doing to deliver a project before you started using WP feedback?
Well, I looked for ways to make it efficient. Like I would start and I would say, okay, you're a small freelancer, you don't have a lot of clients yet, so you're not going to go and pay Basecamp to do project management. That makes no sense. I look into open source tools, so I find stuff like, what's it called? FreeCamp, and it does the job, but the client doesn't really want to get into it. They think it's just another pain that they have to endure. Like, honestly, they just, oh, I don't know how to use a computer. I don't even want to get into it. Like, just tell me what you want and I'll bring it to you on pieces of paper. Like I literally got content on pieces of paper that I had to type out, which for me was insane. Literally, I couldn't understand it. Like, yeah. And I went through a lot of these. Like I honestly went through like a lot of ways to make it more efficient. I would say, think of a process to help a person, give you whatever you need before. And sometimes I used to do this thing where I would tell people, show me a site that you like. And that is sort of okay, but then they like these sites that they don't have actual content for. Like they can show you a nice website and they don't understand that, yeah, for that to be your website, you have to have similar copy, similar like assets for photographs and
high quality
like
photographs and stuff.
So I'm at a point where I've started, I ask the client about that, and if they do have something in mind, I'll look at it and I would explain at the first meeting that you know that you need that specific sort of content.
Right.
And if they don't, and if they see, and if they don't see that and they don't understand that, then maybe I might not even take the project on at this point. Like, I don't know. It depends on what the feel I get from the client, honestly. And
so you were basically trying to avoid problems down the line.
Yeah, exactly.
By deciding if even to take a project or not, because there was a concern that they would not understand, that they would not kind of do what you were asking.
There are people that just say, all I want is a website. And I'm saying, yes, but you've got to explain to me what your business does so that I can understand what your goal is with this website. It's not just, if it's just for me to create a one page that says, I am XYZ, I do this, I've been doing this for X, and that's done, then we don't even need to be talking. I can just throw like a text thing on a, like on a word and we're done. But I try to help them in the sense of what they want to achieve. And sometimes they don't even know. And I'm at a point where I actually, if they don't have an idea, I actually literally say to them, if you don't have an idea of what you want done, I can make an initial design of a website the way I think it would help your business, assuming they can explain their business to me, which is another issue. And then I get to a point where I say, okay, this is what I came up with since you didn't have an idea. What would you like to change? And then they would start, change this, I don't like that, I want this photo to be changed, etc., etc.
How did that kind of happen? How did they tell you, I don't want this, we need to change that? What was
it would be a meeting, physical meeting, right here with me, with like pieces of paper that they had jotted stuff down on. Literally, they would write, I want 4 boxes here, and you would ask them, what is supposed to be in this boxes? And they would say, well, I haven't decided yet.
Right.
So it was a physical meeting where they would say, I want this, and they would like draw squares on pieces of paper, which is fine. I'm good with that. But I mean, literally, they wouldn't know what they would want in those squares that they have decided are a good thing to use.
So as you were delivering the project, what kind of problems through the delivery were you trying to solve for the client?
I was mostly trying to solve the fact that I needed to tell them what to think about or what's useful on their website to achieve their goals, which sometimes they didn't understand. Like they wouldn't understand why it's okay to put a contact form at the top of a website, since what you want people to do is actually get in touch with you to do XYZ first. For example, they would think, why don't you just put it on the bottom? Well, it makes sense if it was just to get in touch with you and they wanted to figure out who you are. But if you're selling like cars, for example, or you're renting cars, the first thing I want to do is check availability. So I need a form that shows me availability on the top, for example. And they didn't understand that. They look at the web and sometimes they see websites where it starts with about us. But in your case, that won't work because you're renting cars, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because you have a focused goal from that page.
You've got to sort of go into things where you've got to tell the client how you could make their business better for them, which I think they enjoy because they think they at least assume you care for their business.
Sure.
Now, they might not like it, but I mean, and they might have other people's opinion, like input, and then they might come back to me and say, I talked to XYZ and he said it would be a better idea to do Y. And I'm like, well, that depends if he could actually see my thought process, and maybe I should discuss with him, but you are my point of contact, which is yet another problem, like having 7 people as point of contact.
So how are you trying to solve these? Let's focus on these two kind of big problems. One is that the client doesn't really understand what needs doing, and then also you have all of these consultants sitting on the client's shoulders. You know, the cousin, the wife, the friend from school. All of these guys all have their own take on what you did that had reasons to it, but they have no idea why. So how did you try to solve these problems?
I had to make it clear that the one person that's giving me information is one person, and nobody else is sending me anything else, because I don't know if it's something you want or if it's something your friend or whoever decided and you're not sure about it, but you threw it at me as if it's a thing that needs to be done. So I just decided that my point of contact is one person, and that's it. Like, I'm not talking to 6 people for any reason. You guys can figure it out. I actually was on a phone call before I found this tool years ago. I was on a phone call and they were 2 brothers on the phone, and they were fighting about one little thing that they wanted. The one brother wanted and the other one didn't. And I literally said on the phone, you guys, no offense, but sort it out. And then the one person that I'll be talking to will contact me and say, this is what we have decided. And that will be done when you have decided it.
So when you were dealing with these kind of situations, what were your frustrations throughout the delivery process?
Mostly it's first of all, them getting you the content and them understanding, visualizing basically what the site would look like, even with demo content. Because some people, they like, you put in the usual lorem ipsum as a developer, you put in the usual Latin lorem ipsum where you need text, but literally my clients can't see what their site would look like if I don't put in wording that actually looks like their business.
Right.
Like, sometimes I'm at a point where I write copy related to their business, not that I know anything about it, but just to make them feel like that's what it should say in that little box, because it's important to note that you have a discount today or whatever. It might just be something that I highlight and said, oh, how did you know that that's important to my business? Well, I sat and I thought about it because I had to. You had no content to give me. And if I put in Latin, you're going to say to me, what am I going to put in this little box? Which happened a lot before. Like, right. They used to tell me, what is this Latin stuff that you wrote here? And I'm saying, well, I just want to show you how the text is going to look. I don't actually know what you want to highlight, but...
And all of these questions just came from all over the place. You're saying that you did like physical meetings, phone calls.
Physical meetings, and then 1,000 emails. And then if you use something like FreeCamp, it would be a thread of like 50,000 things. And then you'd get the notification email, George, you have this due, and it wouldn't be due because I would be waiting on the client, but I couldn't physically type into the box, I'm waiting on you.
Right.
No offense. But, you know, it's that thing where you have these million tools and you try and like have lists of things that need to be done, but then you have to wait on the client. Unfortunately, at some point you have to wait on the client. And that's where everything changed for me when I found you guys.
So how did you hear about us, first of all?
I am a member because I use Divi a lot. I actually prefer not to use anything else. Not that I can't, but I mean, I do stuff on other builders and stuff. But I am a member of Elegant Marketplace.
Nice.
So when you guys did the initial showcase with Andrew, obviously all the members got the email. I always click on it because there's always cool stuff on Elegant Marketplace. So yes. I said, okay, this guy's been sending emails about this cool surprise that's coming. I wonder what it is, and it's a game changer thing. And I watched the video with you guys doing your interview, and I'm like, holy moly, if this actually works, this could actually be a thing. And I was contemplating it for like 7 days.
So what kind of piqued your interest when you were watching that video though?
just the way you guys were showcasing that the clients would be able to do that for me was, okay, I knew my clients were like computer literate, scared of it, but I mean, most of them use Facebook. To me, my first thought was, oh my God, it's like messaging me on Facebook. So they're going to be happy about it. Okay, you have to click the plus sign and show me where, but that's not rocket science. I can tell somebody to do that. Like it's not something weird. So the tool immediately just, oh my God, there's going to be a notification telling me. I can just say, tell me what text you want, and I don't have to ask him, or I don't have to go and look on the, I don't have to ask what device they were on and stuff like that. Like things that I usually have to ask people. Were you on your mobile phone? Were you on an iPhone 5C instead of an iPhone 10? Which has
every time you send this message, it's just another day of the project until you get the answer back. So it prolongs
I might
all
be
of these
waiting.
feedback
They
loops.
might say I didn't see it. They might say it went to junk. They might say a million things. Like I saw it, but I ignored it, and then I forgot about it, and then I'm like, well, I've been waiting. Like, yeah. So it would just add to my days, and then obviously because I charge clients hosting, if it takes 9 months for somebody to give me content, their site has been under construction for 9 months, and when I say, you know what, in let's say I inform them a month beforehand if they want to continue hosting. So if I say, your hosting's up, they're going to say, but my site hasn't been worked. And I'm like, yeah, but I was waiting on you. I'm waiting on content. I'm waiting on X. I'm waiting on Y. So, yeah.
So you talked about this 9-month scenario you just mentioned, and you told me about this story just before we started recording this one. So like, let's talk a little bit about some of the results that you've been seeing. And that was an interesting story about this 9-month guy. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so it's not that the person wanted to be, like he called me and he said, XYZ told me you do websites, and he said you're the guy to go to if I want a website and you know what you're doing. It's sort of word of mouth when it's a local client, right. Usually.
Yes.
And it's usually clients that I've had before and they're happy with the service and they say, go to this guy, he'll do it for you. And his prices aren't bad, et cetera, et cetera. That's how it works in our country. You hear about a guy that does the good thing and then his phone number is just everywhere.
Right.
So yeah, so I started with him and he initially said to me, I want to do an affiliate website for Amazon affiliates or whatever. So I said, okay, cool, let's do that. And then I sort of did the markup for that first. And I said to him, this is about how it's going to look and et cetera, because most of the work on affiliate websites was he had to add the products. And I just showed him essentially how to do that based on the design I made for him. So I assumed he was working on that. That wasn't much of a design job for me. It's just, you've got to set it up and got to show somebody how to do that because it's not that hard. And then a couple months later, he said to me, you know what? I don't think this is going to work, because he probably YouTubed something about affiliate marketing thinking it's like the way he's going to make millions or something.
Right.
And then he said, oh, I've got to do something else. And I've decided that I'm going to be doing a service where I've got people, DJs and stuff for weddings, and I'll be putting these musicians, DJs, etc., in touch with whoever needs a wedding, like a wedding band or whatever. And I just want to showcase those guys and stuff like that. So he had an idea this time around what he actually wanted to do,
right? But
he didn't have any sites that he showed me that he said, I want this kind of thing. So I do the mock-up, and obviously the pictures of the people I put in are stock photos, and the text is Lorem Ipsum or something random that I thought up. And I say to him, okay, now you've got to look at your website, you've got to tell me what needs to go, what needs to stay, and you've got to figure out the pictures. You've got to send me the bios of the people that you're going to have on the website, because he wanted their bios and stuff like that. So I was waiting on him.
So that's already like the second version of the website in 3 months.
Which is a different concept than his initial idea anyway.
Yeah.
So he even changed domain names on me. Like,
right.
So
it's like a different project altogether.
All over the place. Like, and then I say to him, okay, look at the website. And obviously I hadn't been using WP Feedback at the time. So I'm waiting on him, and I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm getting in contact with people that so he was getting in touch at that time with bands, and he was,
Right.
and I said to him, well, that's a bad idea because you don't actually have a website and credibility to even tell people
Talk to them, yeah.
so like, you've got to do your website first. You've got to, and then you've got to find the people. And he knew this very well-known band in Cyprus, and he thought that would be his card to like getting people on board quickly and stuff like that, which was okay. But essentially, I gave him the markup and I said, okay, send me the text and stuff, you guys, because he initially said, wow, this is like exactly what I was thinking. Of course, he didn't. I just did a design that was okay for him. And then I said to him, okay, well, you've got to send me the content now with the actual people, the bios, and all the stuff that you want written down. So I wait, and I called him on a weekly basis, and I'd say, you know, I'm just checking in with you. If you have anything to send me, because at this point it's just either emailing or calling, and I don't want him to say you emailed me but I didn't see it. So I call him literally, and I say, I'm waiting on content. What are you
for months,
thinking?
right?
Yeah, for months. I did this like every week, at least once. So I come to a point where I find WP feedback. I installed it on my site first, obviously, just to play around with it, because I don't mind if my site breaks literally. I mean, I can fix that. If it's a client's live site, that might be a problem. But so I try it out a bit, and I'll tell you a funny story of how I started trying it out, which is really funny. And then I got to putting it on his site, and I said to him, look, we're going to do a little meeting, and I'm going to connect remotely to your computer, and I'm going to show you a little magic trick on your website, which you haven't known. And then I'm going to give you codes for it. Like you log on to Facebook, I said to him, literally, you're going to log on, and you're going to start telling me things to change. So from the initial thing, 9 months had passed. He's hosting was up in 3 months.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said to him, well, this has got to be done now. This has got to finish because I'm waiting on you, but you're not, I don't know if it's that you haven't found the people. No, I found the people. I've got the CVs. I'm just trying to get everything. And I'm like, well, we don't have to get everything. Just start putting stuff up so that the site finishes.
So instead of starting, he was just trying to collect more and more stuff and just prolong in the process. And were you waiting for the like? Why did you wait for him? Were you waiting for the final deposit? Or,
no. I was calling him weekly just to say, give me the stuff. Like the hosting, he paid literally immediately when he wanted the domain name.
Right.
So the only thing I left behind was part of the design, sort of, because I knew that it would have been, he might not have liked the design. I might needed to go a whole total different sort of route. So I didn't want him to think it was done and there was no website. So what would I charge him? Like, I couldn't say the project is finished. So I was wet. So then I came to a point where I showed him the tool, and it took me literally 8 minutes to show him the tool without showing him a video in English or whatever. By the way, we use English a lot here, although we're Greek. Most of us know English. Those that don't, I can explain the tool to them in 3 minutes anyway. But this guy knew English, but I didn't want to show him any of the videos that existed of the tool. I just wanted to show him how he can do this very quickly and just tell me what he wants. Like literally, click the plus sign, click on this, tell me what you want, and we're done. That's it.
Boom, one sentence. That's how we say, like, just the one sentence. Click the plus icon, choose any element on the page, and tell me
and just show me what you want. It's literally the only thing I had to show him that he didn't immediately click was in the initial version of WP Feedback. The upload icon didn't look like anything anybody knew. Like it was like an arrow or whatever, and he couldn't. Of course, it made sense to me. That's the upload button. But I'm a developer. I see a lot of things, and I know that's the upload button. But he couldn't make sense of it. So I said to him, okay, so when you want to send me an image, don't email it to me because it makes zero sense. I don't need to, because I need to download it and then upload it to the website, etc., etc. Just put it in here, and I promise you it will go onto the website.
Yes.
And that's it. And literally after that, the same day, I had 200 changes to make. Granted, it's minor changes, but he wanted me to do them. And it was like, wait, are you actually, because he was getting the completion emails, he was saying, are you actually doing them as I'm typing them in? And I said to him, well, yeah, for me, it's quite easy if you actually tell me what you want. And
Yes.
3 days later, he had a website.
Boom, 3 days.
Literally.
After 9 months of trying to chase this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
And it was
So
this is what I said to him, this is exactly what I told you. Get your photos, get your stuff, and tell me what you want. The only thing I changed is I made it easier for you to actually physically sit and do it.
and you also told me that that's an amazing story, George. You also told me that like this is and I know myself from doing this project as a freelancer and through the agency, that once in a while you have these rogue clients that really take 9 months or a year to do this, but in most cases things kind of move steadily. So
yeah, they move along. They move along. They see the initial design, then they have opinions about it, and then the client always is right, and we do their opinions, and I tell them my professional opinion, but I always say, if that's the way you want it and you think that's the best way to go about it, that's fine. Just know that when I usually actually make a video where I explain the reasons for where I put stuff on the mockup, right? Because they might not think that the reason I put that contact form on top instead of the bottom was because I want people to actually click on it and talk to you, because all you want is business. Like, when I say that, they're okay with it. After I explain why I was thinking that. I might not be the expert, but I sort of have the experience to know that people don't want to waste time reading 7 pages of blurb of who you are and what you've done. They just want to know, can you provide me the service I want, and how much is it going to cost me?
Right. And so with those standard kind of projects, how long did it usually take you to take a project from the beginning to the end, let's say before the platform and after?
Before the platform, I would say a month, assuming everything went the way I wanted it to go. And the client was actually, yes, George, I've got this for you now. I've got the content for you. Here it is. Put it in place. And that's it. It would take maybe a month, because obviously I don't work on one project per, like, yeah, I'm usually running a few. It's not one project, because I'm always waiting on someone else anyway. Yeah. So I can't say no to business just because I'm waiting on somebody to finish. If I'd done that, I would have one project a year and I would never ever get anywhere.
So out of this, like, so the average, let's say you're saying, is about a month.
Was a month, yeah.
Right? And then what happened? Then you installed WP Feedback with those clients. And what is your current
average? I installed WP Feedback. I was sort of reluctant because most of my clients aren't really computer literate, and they're sort of scared of computer. And I said to them, well, first of all, for example, people that have an e-shop, I would say to them, well, you're going to have to manage this. So you're going to have to get into it and not be scared of the screens that come up, one. And what I'm showing you anyway, because I have a thing with Facebook. I don't have Facebook, literally. I have a thing. But I always say to them, look, if you guys can use Facebook, you can use this. Literally, I can show you in 3 seconds. If you can use Facebook, you can use this. And they're scared initially. The hard part for them was needing to log in. Now, when I share a link, they don't even have to. So like they don't see the WordPress dashboard. They don't see anything. So they're not scared of the back end, in a sense. Yes. All they see is their website, which they care about. And then, hopefully, and then you just tell them, click the plus sign and tell me what you want.
And what do you see in terms of the change in the time of delivering a project? So the average was used to be a month.
A month. And now I would say maybe at the most 2 weeks, maybe. Like,
that's insane. And do you believe that it's all because of WP Feedback, the difference?
I do, because it basically, first of all, I literally tell people, if it's not in the tool, I have not seen it, because they would text me and say, I sent you an email. Well, I say to them, because I want to force them to use it, in a sense. I know that sounds bad, but I mean, there's no other way. You've got to, yeah. And I'm like, if it's not in the tool I showed you, and if you had already put in 200 comments, it's not a matter of you didn't put in a comment yet, so you're sort of scared to do it. Right. You've put in 200 comments, do not send me an email.
Right.
Like,
It's all done in there. So
Literally, yeah.
from a month, is you basically reduced it by more than half. It's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's like 2/3 maybe.
2/3. That's insane. And then so you're reducing the project completion by 70%, 75%
Yeah.
as you're describing. And does that affect your ability to bring in more projects or to do to move on to another project faster? Like,
For
how
me
do you
as a
quantify this in
freelancer,
terms of like money, basically?
yeah, for me as a freelancer, I'm not gonna mention any money, but
Sure.
for me as a freelancer, obviously, it makes sense that I need to make money in this month. The month has 30 days, so the more things I can turn over and get a check out of, or cash out of, or whatever out of, that adds to my month, whatever that means. Now, it makes sense that if I finish a project in 10 days, whereas I would finish it in a month, for example, that means essentially I could have done 2 more projects like
Two
that.
more projects.
But, yeah, it's basic math. If you can fit, it's like a restaurant. If you can get people out fast enough, if they've eaten and you've got enough, and you can turn over the table again, you've made more profit that night.
Right.
It's not like that as much. Like, for you to actually get a client, it's hard. And the hard part of getting done with the client and saying this project is now done, tick,
Yeah.
it's done. It was mostly getting the stuff from the client and all that sort of back and forth and stuff like that. As soon as that's done, like, if somebody says I'm starting a project today, and I immediately install WP Feedback and I immediately show them how to use it, and I tell them, when your design is done and you see it, this is how you're going to be using the tool to tell me what you like and what you don't like from the initial design, when I tell you that you can go and look at it, or when I give you logins or whatever. And then from then on, the ball's in their court, and I finish as soon as they give me
As they
everything.
do it. And so you're seeing that you're talking about this guy that gave like 200 tasks, right? 200 little points in there.
Yeah, I was done in an hour though.
Right. So
Like,
that's exactly what I wanted to kind of get to, because when you see 200 tasks, I know myself, if I see 200 emails from the same customer, you know, I hold my head and, you know, I just take a break for the rest of the day instead of.
I've literally lost emails because of the size of the thread.
Right.
I've literally like lost track of what the guy was telling me to do because of the size of the thread, because he was sending it like it was an instant message instead of an email.
Right.
So I was seeing 1,000 threads just trying to tell me, oh, I meant to do like
No subject line. Or
yeah,
anything.
it's like very weird.
And so what is what is your experience managing? Let's say you have 200 tasks on WP Feedback compared to 200 emails relative. How do you manage these many tasks?
To be honest, for me now with the dashboard and all that, I know which projects, I can't say it, but I know in my mind which project is my priority and which need to be done. Obviously, the fact that I have tasks on a specific project, I will go to those first, because that means the client will get an email saying, George has completed this task, which means he's waiting on you for something, right, essentially in their mind, or whatever needs to be done is done. And he will text me and he will literally say, okay, we're done, make the site live. So for me, like we've discussed this at some point, I guess, we must have discussed this, where I had a client actually give me a green light on a Saturday. I don't work on weekends. I've made it a point of not answering work emails on the weekend, because as a freelancer, people just think you're sitting at a computer all day. Right. So they can bother you any time of the day at like any hour on any day. So I've made it a point not to ask, but when a client gives me a green light on a Saturday, it's fine. I can make it so site live. It takes me 3 minutes just to take it from like do the checklist of what I consider the site to be when it's live and stuff. But literally, he had the time to check it on a Saturday. He said, I have nothing more to say. It's done. We're done. That's it. And I got immediately paid off it.
Perfect.
And it was a Saturday. So for me, it's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so now that we're talking about, like you saw, we're already reducing like more than 70% of the project completion time, allowing you to manage 200 tasks to be done in an hour, which is insane
They
for
were
anyone that
minute.
is
They
this.
didn't need actual development. It was like change
Yeah,
this,
just
change
change
that.
this
But I
color,
mean,
change that. Yeah.
but it would have been 200 emails that I had to look through.
Yes.
Like,
And so what would you say is the ROI compared to the investment that you invested in this platform, in this tool?
oh my God, I wouldn't be able to quantify it. Just because of the actual increase in turnaround time, I would have to say, and this is a random number, it's probably more. Like, it has to be like 300, 400%. Like, I can do it in three times less. So literally, it's got to be like 300, 400%. Because I say that I've reduced it 70%, but it could be more. Like literally, there's been a day where I've done a website in 20 minutes, but that's like a very, very like very crazy scenario to be able to do a website. Right. It's just that the client like that design exactly. He knew what he wanted, and 20 minutes later, the only thing I changed was what he wanted in the text, and it was done. But that's like the crazy scenario. But I mean, 300% for sure at the very least.
Amazing.
Honestly.
And so why did you decide to go with WP Feedback specifically out of some of these other, because basically with WP Feedback, it's not just the visual feedback, it's also the management platform and so on. So you're using Freedcamp and stuff like that before?
It's a lot of things that I no longer need to log into, to be honest. Like, I don't have to check Freedcamp. I don't have to check my emails to see if this client has sent me something that needs to be done on his website, because I literally, my email now only consists of like newsletter and stuff. And I literally, somebody texted me, I sent you an email, I said to him, if it's not in the system, I haven't seen it. Like, amazing. They have to think that system is my email. Like, yes. Literally.
That's true. And it's actually designed, the dashboard is designed like an inbox for developers, so that you get all of this visual representation, and like you said, the screen size, the browser version, all the stuff that gets you thinking is now just shown to you.
Yeah, and even the clients that are scared to do it, like if there's a client that's like scared to log into WordPress and stuff, they usually have someone that's giving them, like, filling their ear in with ideas and stuff, like, right. And that person would be literate enough, since they're filling their ideas with stuff and checking the internet, would be literate enough. And I've seen a client actually delegate logging in and adding the tasks to the system to someone else who I now talk to. But we don't actually, I've talked to the guy because I didn't know who he was, so I needed to know what his role was, and I had to confirm who he was and what he was doing. And I actually gave him logins, and I said to him, okay, since you are having talks with her and you guys are deciding, and she's giving you because he does her MailChimp and stuff like that. Right. So he might have ideas on where to put a CTA or something similar and stuff like that. And I said to her, okay, cool. If you have ideas and she approves of it, and I talked to her and I said to her, is everything he says, is it discussed? And she said, yes. Then, okay, so whatever he tells me that needs doing. And I literally closed her site on Friday, because all he needed to do was change pictures, which he was WordPress literate enough to do himself. Right. Okay. And then he just said to me, he literally typed in a few tasks that he couldn't do because he doesn't know CSS, for example, something. But and that was that. I closed it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so would you recommend someone else, any other freelancers or agencies, to actually work with us, work with the platform?
I think that when you see the value in the way you can decrease the time you need to manage what you need, like for me, it would be a thing. What do I need to do tomorrow morning? Like, what things do I need to do? And literally, I don't even, somebody actually said to me, a friend of mine said to me, why don't you make a list of things you need to do? And I'm like, I don't need to. I already have my list. I just have to wake up and open it, because I'm not telling myself what to do. My projects are basically telling me what to do. Yes. If I'm waiting on someone, it's their fault essentially if I'm waiting, because I'm waiting on them to give me something. For the rest of the people that have tasks open, I know what to do. I can waste 8 hours and do whatever, however many tasks are left in the system, and they're done. And that's it. And it's also fulfilling to actually, but that might be just me, like
Get it to green.
my OCD that I want the green ticks.
Yes. It's actually by design, just so you know, George.
I know. I've seen as much. But
Get it all to green. That's my,
it makes sense.
that's
It
the
makes
sentence.
sense.
Yeah. Awesome. And so who do you think is this platform is a good fit for?
Literally anybody. I mean, this sounds crazy, but I mean, I work with clients where I just do the maintenance for their website. I've actually put the tool on as a maintenance thing as well. I don't check my email. You've got to put it in there, otherwise it's not going to happen. And now they've put their whole team on. They've obviously, because the teams are users in WordPress, they've literally, it's a chatbot now. It's become today. Like
Yes.
they've got a chat thing from 77 days ago, because I can obviously see from the dashboard, and the design actually literally loads. I will fix this design when the SEO chap is done with his like stuff.
Nice.
And it's still there. But for me, I'm actually at a point where I said to him, you guys don't just randomly tick me in the tool, because this task has nothing to do with me. If you need me, tick me. If you don't, don't tick me. Because I look at them stressing that not stressing, but I mean, I think that I need to do something. And then I check, and it's a conversation between them talking about, I don't know, if the sun is shining or whatever. But
so the clients have started using this. Well, for you, it's a huge power up, because you get everything into one place. But even the clients started to doing it internally with their own teams.
One of the designers on this team that I'm talking about, we've actually become friends, and she refers me as a coder to her project, because she's a designer. She can use a page builder, but there comes a time when you need to write media queries, you need to write code she doesn't know. So she literally says to me, I'm starting a website with my friend. Can you put that tool for me? And then I'm like, and I said to her, well, am I going to work on it? And she says, yeah, you're going to be the coder on it, because obviously if I'm not going to be paid for it, it's not worth it. But, and I said, okay, this is how I work anyway. I wouldn't actually literally answer emails anymore. If you send it to me, I might not see it. Not because I wouldn't answer your email specifically, but because I just don't check. I don't think that I'm going to get tasks in my email anymore.
That's amazing.
I don't assume as much.
And
I check, but I literally go back to them and say, please add this to the system, because I want them to be forced to like get into my groove, because otherwise I'm never going to finish. I'm going to go back to where I was 5 years ago, and I don't want to. I'm done with that.
So George, why should someone that is now watching this video should take action right now and join us?
The only thing I can tell you is your business is going to change. You will actually be able to relax, even if that means 3 hours a day or maybe more, because I've done more than 3 hours, by the way, relaxing. Like literally today, to be honest, I'm the only task I have like 6 tasks in all my websites, and I'm waiting on clients to send me photos. So I'm literally doing nothing. That sounds weird, but I have nothing to do. I'm waiting.
That's
so
awesome.
I could be on holiday right now. Nobody would know. Like, literally, nobody would know.
That's amazing. So, all right, as we're wrapping things up, George, what would you say is your #1 piece of advice for other freelancers or agencies like yourself?
I'm going to talk to the freelancers. Because I've been through it, and if I didn't discover this tool, I was at a point where I thought like, you can't say no to work because you need the money. You're a freelancer, because you might have work today and you might not have work tomorrow. But you have to have this tool simply because it will make it easier for you to finish and get paid. If that doesn't make sense to freelancer, I don't know what makes sense. Like because the way freelancers work, we need to turn over. It's like the restaurant thing. You need to finish to continue getting new clients, because the only way you're going to make money, unless you're like an influencer on Instagram, I guess, or something, it's word of mouth from your clients. It's happy clients. It's clients that's websites are done, and anything else you can upsell after that, like maintenance, hosting, etc. So if you aren't going to finish any websites ever, you're not going to be paid for hosting. You're not going to be paid for whatever else service you provide, other than your initial development, design, or whatever you want to call it. So you have to get this tool just to be more efficient, get things done, and say. And for me, to be honest, it's minimized my interaction with explaining to a client, but I'm waiting on you. They know, because it says it's been 77 days since I've commented this. So they can't say, I've been waiting on you and you haven't answered.
Right.
For a freelancer, that's money in the bank, like literally.
It shows the client, because emails get lost in the history in the history of the inbox. What happened yesterday, it doesn't apply today anymore. It's already back there. But because everything is listed for the client, they can actually see everything that was done, marked as green or not. It's because of them usually.
Yeah. And I literally might not even maintain the website anymore, but I keep the tool there as proof of what was done.
Perfect.
In case they say, but when was this done? And I'm like, here, you requested it.
Yes.
It's your name on here. So unless somebody hacked you, which I wouldn't know, this is you requesting it. Because that was another thing. They would request things and they would say, but I don't request that. It was an idea I was thinking about.
And I can show them. Yeah. That's perfect. And well, finally, George, where can people find a little more about you and your business?
Well, this is going to be hard. My website is George Nicolaou. Nicolaou is spelled NICOLAOU.me, which is my personal website, obviously. And you can find me on Twitter as George WebDev, G caps, W caps, and D caps. You can find me there, other than the WP Feedback Social Network, which, if you don't know what that is, figure it out. If you're looking for designers and people that can do stuff for your WordPress website, just jump on there. It's free. So
that's perfect. Well, thanks a lot, George. It was a pleasure hearing your story and seeing like how it's very humbling to hear how impactful the platform was for your business. And
I don't think you understand it until like the first 3 hours you use it. Like literally, I challenge anybody to send me an email telling me that they put it on, they showed it to a client, and 3 hours later the client hasn't given them like 200 tasks, and then closing the project. I did that the first client I used this on. That's what happened, and that's why I can't not use it anymore. Like I literally install it before I even start doing anything else.
That's amazing. Well, thanks a lot, George. It was beautiful to hear this story.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you. You too.